Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, I just can't seem to get my head out of the gutter. Welcome to the gutter of the PSGF, everyone. That's right, the gutter system for the rain to go into the IBC is all set up. We got a lot to show you today. Now, I've never put a gutter system together, so when I was at the big box store, I was just looking at all the directions on the signs for the pieces parts, and I went ahead and put together the pieces parts in my shopping cart and brought them home, and then displayed them all on my little rock bed area where the IBC was. And I had to figure out what was going to go on where. Did I buy the right pieces to make this all work? So after doing some light construction with some caulking and putting some pieces together, I had a gutter system ready to put up. My wife helped me hold it up on one end when I put the first couple screws in, and then I was able to attach the rest. So the gutter was in place. Of course, a little higher on the west side and a little lower on the east side, so the water would drain towards the IBC. And I snipped up the last of the small stuff. So all we have left is a teepee of big stuff. Well, and we still have the stuff on the driveway. That's the really big stuff. So I'm gonna probably do that last. The teepee though, yeah, I'm gonna take a chainsaw to this tomorrow and get it all nice and small, manageable, so we can have some really nice bonfires. I tell you, it's a great feeling to get that tree down, cleaned up, and a couple more days of burning and we'll tackle most of it, so that's pretty cool. And a lot of bonfires throughout the summer. Okay, bonfire. It's been another amazing day weather-wise. We got some morning rain, great for the trees. The clouds did break up between 2 and 3, and we've had sunshine. Cleaned up the rest of the front yard, and I've been burning. I think I'm done for the night though, as the sun sets. I got this teepee of branches, and I thought, hey, instead of putting more branches from the dead ash on here, I should have my first ever bonsai graveyard fire. So I've had some trees in the bonsai graveyard, but let's get started. So I know some people have had some ceremonial burnings of their bonsai trees on the channel, so I thought, hey, maybe I should do the same. This was an elm tree, little tiny elm tree that went bust. All the roots are flaring up. This is an old cotoneaster. Gnarly, nasty roots in here. No wonder it didn't survive. I've had my fair share of boxwoods that have so many roots. It's amazing they actually die. I think this one got some of that boxwood blight, or here's a boxwood. Let's add that to the pile. It won't stay up there. Oh. Oh, there it goes, poof. All those fine roots. The next one that's going into the fire is one that I worked with Peter T. This was my first ever Shimpako juniper. And I got some dead wood back here. Got a shari right here and here that we started early on, and was gonna let that heal over and create some live veins and the dead veins. And a couple years ago, I think the second year in, I don't know, it perished. One of my more expensive trees. Here we go. Yeah, this was urban Yamadori that had really no roots. I am completely at a loss with this one. Old piece of gnarly dented up tree there. I wanted to say this because of this dent was one of the pines I got from my friend Neil Kruger. Why did I keep that one so long? I can't for the life of me figure this one out. This one was a blue arrow juniper. So the blue arrow junipers grew up real nice and tall and pointy. It looks better dead than it ever did alive. I chopped off the third one and kept it a double. Considered taking that off in the future as well. So a blue arrow juniper was kind of one of my first like favorite trees. I loved this tree. I thought I was going to do some really cool things. Alas, it goes to the pile of the forgotten. This is a pine tree of sorts. A little bit of taper in this thing, going up to the tip here. Really tough root system though. This would have taken some massive cleaning out after hopefully some rebirth, but this one, I don't remember what kind of pine. The flames are getting higher, but the sun's gone down further and it's getting darker. And then I have one of my other really sad trees from my time with Peter T. Instead of getting a Japanese black pine, we got Austrian pines. And I loved the movement in this gnarly bottom of this tree. It had so much potential. A little bit of curve down there, big old bassy bottom here, chunky Nabari, and some movement in here. Yeah, I was super bummed to lose this one. I almost want to keep this for another project I was going to do, but it's too big. Ah. So the IBC water tank is a bit of an eyesore. So after watching some various YouTube channels myself, I saw someone who covered an air conditioner unit with this system. They just put a couple of pillars up all around and they put some slats. Now, I have the gray color, so I had to get my wood and paint everything wood. Actually, it's a waterproof stain. So I got my slats, and instead of like on the PSGF with the little 1x4s, I got 1x6s. Actually, it's 1/2 inch by 6, and I used those for the slats on the IBC fencing. So all I wanted to do is create a light little fence, little airy fence that's going to cover most of the IBC. I used cinder blocks for the bottom and just put the 4x4 posts in there. I put a 2x4 and a 2x3 on the 4x4 post, stuck those in the corners, and then I added all the slats. Tried to, of course, get it as level as possible, and the top, I still have to work on that a little bit. So we're looking at the back end of the PSGF with the gutter in place and a couple of filters. Now the white ones haven't been attached yet, so I might have to figure out how I'm going to do that today. It might be just a little bitty caulk in the center of each piece, or I might even take some bonsai wire and come through the filter screen. But let's go ahead and take one of these off for you and give you a peek at what's inside. Not only do I have this white piece of plastic that has screened in holes right there to hold all those pieces from going into the system, I also in the gutter system have this black mesh. So this black mesh is another filter system to make sure I don't get a lot of pieces parts in the IBC. Now there is one tiny little gap right here, but all the way from there, all the way to the end, we have the black leading down into the tube right down here. So for right now, this guy is just sitting right here with the other ones. So we have to figure out how we can maybe secure these today so they're a little bit more solid in case a wind wants to come and blow these out. As you can see, this one right over here is just kind of sticking out just a little bit. So we might put a little bit of caulk underneath here just to hold it in place a little bit better, or we might put a little wire through those holes. Once the gutter was in place and all the fencing was around the IBC, it was a good time to check if my downspouts were going to be working for me. So I got a little downward bend I got a little straight section here, and then I got this really great corrugated plastic section that I can wiggle and wobble, and I can put closer together and pull apart if I need to, and it curves right into the top of the IBC opening. And I put some screen there as well. Now that screen is going to keep, again, more of the pieces parts that might be flowing in the gutter system. Even though I have filtration in there, I want that to keep out of the IBC tank. Now, a lot of people think that you have to paint your tanks maybe black or gray or green, or just get some color on there, that the sun is going to make everything all full of algae and get it all green inside. Now, even those who use water, collected rainwater, to drink from, they say that this is not necessarily true. My friends over at Verge Permaculture, which helped me design the PSGF, talk a lot about how to collect rainwater. And as long as you don't have sediment in your water, you're not going to be worried. Therefore, you would put a lot of filtration in your system. Now, this isn't going to be water to drink. This is water for the bonsai to drink. So I have a double filtration system up there. So the big leaves and the twigs and the seeds and all that's going to land on that, and it's not really going to make it into the IBC tank. Plus a filter. There's a filter kind of like the same meshing that we put at the bottom of our bonsai pots. I put that at the opening here that goes down into the downspout. And then there's this right here, the screen. Next, I'm going to put a screen on the top of the IBC, so there's another layer for the stuff to be collected. And I can just unwire this. I use some bonsai wire to keep this nice and snug. I'll bonsai wire some of the screen on top of the IBC opening, and then I can always untwist them, shake it out, clean it out, and put it back over there. That way, pretty much only water will be in the tank. And then I'll decide if I want to make some kind of fancy cover on here, again, to keep branches and leaves and all the things just kind of away from this area. But the water system is almost ready to test out. There are 6 slats on the front, left, and right side of the IBC fencing system. Only a couple in the back, but no one's really going to see the back. And I will go to the store and buy a couple more, because I do want to cover up the bottom on both the sides and the front. But on the front, we have the valve to worry about, so we're going to tackle that in a little while. But right now, the fence is on, it's sturdy, everything is looking good from a distance. You don't see the ugly IBC anymore, and we'll pretty it up even more as we go along. How's the water going to get in, though? We go back to the gutter. So here we have the downspout coming to the hole of the IBC up on top. Now, this screen is going to keep anything from in there from getting too loose and in here, right? And I gather here, and I can undo the bonsai wire and take this off and rinse it off and clean it. We'll shove that aside. We're going to take off the cover, and we're going to put the cover aside. And so there's where it's going to go in. Now, I could have it real nice and taut. Here's my screen for this piece, and I made it nice and big, so it would lay out and have a lot of extra space. Now, I don't want it to be too taut, because then everything's loose like this and water could spill all over the place. So I thought I would just squish it down a little bit so it's below the lip of that. And then we can go ahead and we can see if we can tie that in with some bonsai wire. Now, just in case we get some overzealous critters, let's make it taut. There we go. Tuck this down and around, just like I'm putting a bonsai pot together. And there we go. We have a little indent in there, so this just fits right in there. Now, this could blow around in the wind too and get all over the place loosey-goosey when water's in there. That could be a problem as well. So what are we going to do in that situation? Well, I have holes previously drilled in here that we can go ahead and wrap this around, and we can snug it around. So the corrugated plastic is a nice way. It's got a groove in there. I can kind of pull this tight, and I can pull these together and wrap these around here. And let's go ahead and get rid of all that extra. That's obnoxiously too much. And we can tuck that underneath. And now that can't pull anymore that way. So let's go to the other side and do the same thing. So just like I'm fishing through in a bonsai pot, I'm fishing this through on the piece of 2x3s that I have in place here. And now we can pull this taut. Now this side's pulling that way. This side's going to pull this way. We wrap it around pretty tight over here. And again, a little bit overzealous with the wiring. We cut those extra off. We tuck it down underneath there. That's not going anywhere. Even when water comes flowing through here. Nice and tight, nice and tight. And there we have this section all secure. So the water is going to come down the downspout. It's going to come right here. We've got nice little flexibility there, but it's going to stay put and it's going to go in there. Now, I'm probably going to put some kind of cover on top, but I just don't know what yet to kind of cover all this up. I do have a lot of extra pieces from my fence boards here that I could lay. I could put a couple real close here. I could cover this up with some extra pieces all the way up to here so it's nice and snug. And then very little big branches and big things will get in there. But then I have these openings over here, so I have a couple different ideas to close that off. I also think about making something that's a solid piece that I could like lift up. I could lift up this side. This side will be a little bit harder. Maybe it lifts up this way. Make it so it goes around there. Sounds all complicated, so I'll try to keep it as simple as possible. But now the gutter's up, the filters are in place, the downspout is coming in here. We're almost ready to turn on the water. Now, as we get nice and cozy down by the spout, we got to have the water coming out right here. So this comes off, and there's a little bit of drips of water in there. We have this right here that we can screw on some hosing that can come out here, some kind of attachment. Right now it's just a plug piece. But there's the blockage in there with our big switch right here. So we lift up on this yellow guy here, and then we go ahead and open this guy up. And you see how hard that was? It's kind of cumbersome. It's the weakest link of my IBC. That's a little cumbersome, but then it gushes, the water will just come gushing out of there. So I need to have some kind of hose system that'll come out here, and then I can close it and open it real easy and leave the pressure out here. And then in the winter time, when it's all empty, I'll put this back on and we'll leave that on over the winter time. But before we leave it on, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna turn the water on and put some water in the gutter and see if the system is gonna work. This is pretty exciting. Okay, we are ready for the true test, the first test of the gutter system. The filters are in place. We have the downspout into the IBC with the screen mesh to make sure it's just water going in there. We've got the hose, the power is on. Let's make it rain. It's coming down the gutter, into the gutter pretty fast. I can't see what's going on down there though. That's a lot of rain. Oh, I hear some water going down into the IBC code now. It's shooting off the roof really nice. It's going into the filtration system. Turn this off. Go check down there. There we go. We are closed, and the water's getting inside the IBC through the gutter system. I don't see any drips in the downspout. Everything looks like it's holding its own. Looks pretty good. That's a lot of rain. As the water makes its final way down into the IBC, there's still a little bit of water dripping in here, coming down into the IBC. And I don't see a lot of major leaks in the gutter system, so that's good. Now, there were two gutter pieces that were seamed together, and that might be a little bit of a weak spot, so I'll have to keep an eye on that after some big storms and such. But there's still water going in there, and I've been down from the ladder for a good minute or two already, so that gutter was holding a lot of water. That'd be a big downpour for a long time, but it does seem to be pretty sturdy. So, good news. I think I'm gonna have some rainwater in the IBC coming out pretty soon. So we're gonna leave this water in here and for a little bit, because now we have to go to the store and we have to go figure out the system we're gonna put from underneath and that valve down there to see if we can have access to the water a little bit easier than that great big, you know, if I open up that floodgate with that big switch down there, it's just gonna come gushing out. So I wanna be able to turn it on and off with a really slow controlled opening spigot type thing. So we're gonna go research that at the store, try to find those pieces parts, and we'll put that together to wrap up this video with the gutter and the IBC coming to a close here. Super excited to have water at my disposal, rainwater, hopefully later this week, as it's predicted to rain in the next couple of days. After 3 trips to the hardware/big box stores, I went to 3 in all today. had a little lunch to replenish my energy level. I think we're ready to tackle this. So again, this came with this little lever right here, and I lift up right here, and if I open it up slightly, here comes some water. Close it back up, lock it in place. The more money you spend on your IBC, I'm sure you get a really nice spigot out of there. You can just turn a nice heavy-duty faucet thing, and you're gonna be in good shape. But for right now, that's that. I want a better system that I won't make that white blockage in there. It's really cumbersome to open and close, and I don't want over time that to wear. So I want to go ahead and use a lever up here that's going to work a lot better. So we're going to attach that to this, and then we're going to attach this to here, and then we're going to attach it to some more pipes so we can attach some hoses to it. There's a lot of attaching going on. So in the wintertime, the cap will go on just like this, and we'll have it empty, all drained, and we should be good to go. Now there's always the option I can get one of those electric rocks for ponds or electric de-icers, and it could keep this all nice and unfrozen all winter long. But the first year I don't think I'm going to try that. We're just going to drain it out, take that, put that cap on, and we're good for the year. But when we want to water things, we're going to go ahead and put this right here. Now in order for that to fit right here, we have to add this coupler. So I couldn't find the right size pipe that would go inside here. This fits right along the side here, but it's a perfect fit. This isn't rubber. That's not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide this rubber gasket here right over all of that, and we're going to put it nice and snug on there, and this one will go on here. So let's do that one first. Now with this rubber coupler, we should be in good shape wrapped around this 1.5 inch PVC pipe. A nice fit where most of the water with this pressure from this tank, not high pressure hose, this should hold the water and we shouldn't have too much leaks. My biggest concern is here because this isn't a tight seal. There's a whole bunch of ribbons on here for this piece to screw on. But again, this is rubber, so it should form into a nice shape to hold some of that moisture in. Now, so do you ever have tools that you wonder if you're ever going to use? Look at this cute little screwdriver. Yeah, that fits right in here. And I can actually twist this thing on nice and tight. And now here's my valve that'll go right here. We'll cement that on, and this comes out to right here. And then we're going to split it off into 2 different hoses. And so we have some more connector pieces. So here are some hose connectors, and we're just going to go ahead and screw those on to one side. And then to the other side. This will go in here, this will go in here, this will come out of here, and we're going to have 2 different hoses that I can go to. And where do you guess this hose is going to go to? Yeah, it's over there to the PSGF. We're going to put a hose into the PSGF so I can fill up my 5-gallon tubs in there with rainwater whenever they're low. So if I just open up the spigot in there, they should have enough pressure in here to just empty out the water into those buckets. And then this one will be just for out here. I can open up and fill my buckets and go water some plants. So we need to attach these. And as I open up the tank, we should have water coming out of both ends. Let's see. There we go. And no drips here at the moment. Close it back up, shut it up. We had water coming out both sides and then no water here. Now the test will be, the true test is when it's all sealed and put together and there's hoses on here and I block all these hoses off and plug them up here, will that pressure squirt out some water right here. Again, 250 gallons of water pressure coming through here. There might be some leaks from this rubber hose coupling in here, but so far, so good. So now I need to put a piece of hose from here into the PSGF. So I have some extra hose to do that. So your normal hose coupling is going to go on right here. And if I need to get some Teflon tape to give this a nice secure attachment, I will. And again, when that's all sealed and good to go, we'll be in good shape. Now the other part of this hose has to slink on over and go into the passive solar green frame. So let us get this out and untangled, and let's see where we are at. The true test is, will it fit through the PVC pipe I have in there with the watering system hose that's in there? And we do. So I've shoved the hose through into the PSGF, and the longest I want the hose, so I don't have too much of a mess in here and all kinds of hose to coil up and all that kind of stuff, I'm gonna have the hose pretty much wrap up right here so I can reach the top of the PSGF shelving system and go into the bucket here out here for water. So I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna cut it right here. There we go. I just totally destroyed that hose. And now we can just leave this as a hose, or we can put an attachment on there. And I just so happen to have purchased a few hose attachments. So I can go ahead and put the proper side right here. And we'll get this right there. So when you go to your big box store or your local hardware store, you can go ahead and get these hose adapters where you can put this over any hose and then secure it nice and tight, and then you won't have a hose at the end that's fraying. Oh, I was supposed to leave that part on. And we're going to tighten this down as tight as we can make it, and it's clamping around this new shortened homemade hose that we made that's just for the PSGF. There we go. And that can go right into this bucket and fill this bucket up. We could even put an attachment if there is enough pressure, and we could kind of water our plants up top if we needed to. But we have as much hose as we need on the inside. And now to take it one step further, to have even more control of the neatness or sloppiness that comes with hoses and water inside the PSGF. When I open up the floodgates from that end, it's just going to come gushing out. And yeah, I can have the hose inside the buckets and be in good control. But what if I just put one of these adapters on from, again, the hardware store? And we can put some Teflon tape if we need that here too. But we're going to go ahead and put this little guy on right like this, super nice and tight. And then we have one of these levers. Closed, opened, closed, open. And if I want to put another attachment here, I still can. Closed, open. The misting system hose is all set up for this when this works. I've got the extra hosing I just made. I have a little extra space out here too, so we can always pull it through a little bit further. Those are tucked away and doing fine. So the next side is over here. We want to make sure we can put this to a hose. Well, the hose I just cut has the wrong end on it. Well, that's kind of a bummer. So I can do one of two things. You could buy one of these, which I did, or I also have another connector for the other end. So for today, I'm just going to go ahead and make this hose a completed hose, and we'll go ahead and have another setup ready to go. And now we've made two hoses for flexibility of just adding water to a bucket or adding water to the PSGF buckets or the plants in there for that matter. All right. And now without a valve that'll shut off and on here, the water will just run out to this side without plugging it up. So I'll have to buy another one of those valves. I only got one. We'll have to get another one here to plug this one up. So we can have water going to where we want it to go. It looks like we're all set up for now. We have the pipes that are all sealed now with the cement. We're gonna let them seal for a good chunk of time. We're gonna wait for this to fill up completely, and then we'll start to test the system out. If I get a few leaks over here at the rubber coupler, we'll have to figure that out, maybe tighten them up a little bit tighter, or see if there's another solution. If you have one, put it down in the comments. But we've got this valve right here now. When this one's opened, I can shut this one so the water will stop right here. And then I can open this one, we can go into the PSGF, or we can come right here. And if I don't want this hose dangling around here, this extra hose, and I'm just filling up buckets, I could always put on this little attachment as well. It has a nice short 6-inch section that I can put it on right here, and I can put the bucket right here and fill it up. But I like the flexibility of the hose, so this may be on standby for right now. So we're good to go. Now we just need a lot of rain. Because we have about our 4th or 5th day of sunshine, the rain's been few and far between of late, but there's some rain on the horizon. We're going to see how fast this bucket will fill up. In the meantime, I could fill it up a little bit with the hose water just to get maybe 50 gallons in here and see how the pressure system works when it's about 50 gallons full. And then as the rain fills it up, it'll help get more and more natural water, less hardness to it. So we'll see what happens. We'll look at that forecast and check it out. So it's a couple of days later, and we did get a little bit of rain. Now I filled the barrel a little bit with some water from the hose, but we got a little rain last night and it filled it up to right about here. So we have plenty of water to come in here and we can release the hose and see what's going to happen. So here's the end of this side. If I go ahead, close this, open this. Oh my gosh, see, that's tricky. There we go. Would help if you do it the right way. Okay, now I discovered I have a little bit of leak on the back side of this, but I'll only open this up when this is ready to go ahead and release some water. So now water's going into the PSGF, water's going into this one. Let's see if we get some water out here. Open up that tube, and there we go. Water, rainwater coming from here. So I can close that. The leak's still there a little bit, but it's going to be a small enough leak. By the time I fill up buckets, fill up the PSGF buckets, we should be go, and we can close this back up. Let's go see if it works now in the PSGF with this long hose going inside. So I stretch out the hose, and it is currently closed. We open it up, and we have some water. Now that's a bit of a small dribble there, but it is coming out. There we go, a little bit more there. So as the IBC fills up to the top, we'll have more pressure and we'll be able to get more water through in here to the buckets. So we do have a little bit of flow, but not much. It's going kind of slow right now, but it's working. There we go. And of course, the lower I have it, the more water comes out. Up here, it's a little bit slower because we're getting that pressure and gravity to work against us. So there we go. We got some water coming out. The system is working and I'm super excited. Now I just want more rain. All the trees outside could use more rain, we could use more rain, and the IBC could use more rain. I might fill it up with the hose a little bit, but we'll see what the rain forecast is for in the future. So everything is in tip-top shape. I'm loving the way it's working out. And that's gonna wrap it up for this one. So until next time, y'all, hey, take care of yourself, take care of your bonsai and your water systems, and we'll catch you on the next one.